It's Wednesday, the 28th day of April, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Carla Zul. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you're watching online, share the link. If you're on Facebook, start that watch party. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching on Channel 82 or listening on the Full 100 radio station, call someone up. Let them know we're on. Just get the conversation out there to your network. And don't forget to like and engage with us. Another good one today as we continue the conversation on international business in Bermuda. Shelby Weldon is stopping by. The Daily Play is a say it. It's not funny, man.
Don't sing it.
Don't sing it. My goodness. As usual, it's not hurricane season, not quite yet. That's in starts June 1st. But people, tape up the glass around your house because she may do it.
That's right.
You know how the Christians say, "Won't he do it?" Well, she may do it. She may do it. Don't. I'm trying to save you. We're talking insurance, reinsurance this week. Trying to save you that higher premium. So take care of yourselves. Don't say you weren't warned. A lot to discuss. There was a press conference last night. Don't want to spend too much time on that, but it looks like the media came out very defensive and firing. Apparently, it was an apology made by Don Burgess after via Twitter, but it seemed the media was unhappy at not knowing at the time that they were only going to have 4 questions and having to rush down. And then there was an apology after the press conference on Twitter by Don Burgess in the direction of the premier, saying that they did, in fact, receive an email saying it would be 4 questions. And I think someone else said, yeah, they received an email, but it was only at 4:44, which is an hour prior. Either way you look at it, it was good for the country, in my opinion, with Don Burgess and Trevor in particular coming out and being more aggressive about their position in media, but also one of the concerns I had after watching last night is last week, Jonathan Bell at the RG, I believe it was Jonathan Bell, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm always got a retraction in me. But he had another question, and Aderonka, the director, said, "Oh, Jonathan, your questions are up." And Premier David Burt actually stated, "Oh no, if Jonathan has another question, let him go." Right. So you gave Jonathan another question, I guess. Maybe you don't feel as threatened by his questions. But last night, Maya had another question, and she was cut off by the director, Aderonka. And Aderonka said, "Oh no, Maya, we're only doing 4 questions." Now, the challenge with that, the premier didn't step in and say, "Oh well, we can give Maya." See what happens when you set things up in a prior press conference. You set this president, right, and then no, that president's no longer fit. Why was it okay for Jonathan Bell to have an additional question, but not Media Maya? So,
well, the joke for it was because Jonathan had said in his interview time that he had gotten the vaccination. Because I remember everyone was giggling and saying, "Oh, Jonathan's getting in the good books."
That's all it takes. Got the vacky, as Elizabeth calls it. One of our viewers got the vacky, and all's changed. But yeah, I thought it was a bit unfair on Maya, but we moved, we learned, we moved past that, and want to really discuss bridge and job gaps this morning. So one of the things that obviously during the pandemic in Bermuda, one of the hardest hit worldwide, but especially in Bermuda, has been the hospitality and restaurant areas, right? A lot of people been out of work. Some people with hotels closing and no tourists have been short of work. And wanted to just kind of gauge the audience about bridging the gap to see what you all think. Found this article on LinkedIn, and we can share it if you're interested. But should you accept a bridge job is the question. And a bridge job is, let's say you're working in an exempt company, international business. You may be an underwriter, right? We just learned what an underwriter is. And so let's say you're an underwriter and you lose your job. There's nothing available at the time, but there may be, say, a job in a grocery store. They're looking for an operations assistant or HR assistant. Do you take that job while you wait on something that you're interested in or that matches your professional experience? Or do you say, you know what? Nope, I'm just gonna stick it out and wait my turn. Now, most people will probably say they're going to take a job, right, Carla?
No, not in Bermuda. Pride is a huge thing. And I think that sometimes people are like, no, I'm not stepping beneath me. I'd rather wait it out than to do something. When I worked years ago, I worked at BIU gas station part-time, and I was at the Gazette at the time, and they told me it wasn't a good look, and that
Really?
was coming from an employer. When I went out of government and was building my business, and I worked at Chopsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, why would you demean yourself? So I
Mm-hmm.
think it really depends on a few factors. Do you have responsibilities?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have savings? There are so many variables, but I do think that people need, one of the things that in the article that stood out for me was where it said, do you have skills that can fit in another area,
Mm-hmm.
which may open you up to other opportunities and possibilities. When I moved to the UK, I'm a PR person, as you know, and media. I couldn't find a job, but I also did a couple of years with the Mirrors program as a consultant. So I ended up working at a behavioral school and then running a subsidiary program for them because I had worked with at-risk youth. So I just think it depends on how hungry you are. And a lot of Bermudians, no judgment, say they're hungry, but are they hungry enough?
From my experience, though, I think Bermudians are generally better at it than most people I've come across outside of Bermuda. And what I mean by that is I know people who are outside of Bermuda and they're very industry specific. Like, they will not leave their industry. This is where they stick. I've come across many people in Bermuda where, they would go from industry to industry. But take to your point about the actual job. There are some people that say, no, I'm not gonna go backward because once you go there, you get stuck. But there was some advice in these articles, and I would say to people, regardless regardless of what you do in that time, just find a way to develop new skills. I think it was Mr. Cyril Witter on Monday, and he spoke about, if you were an accountant in one place, can you bring that experience and be an accountant in another industry, right? There are opportunities there where you can learn new skills there. But here's some of the things, a couple of points where it said, when selecting these jobs, even temporary ones, you have to be strategic, right? Be strategic. What does being strategic mean? If it's a temporary job, are you going to want to stay there to figure out if you can grow in the position or grow in the company, right? Do you want to, if it doesn't work out, you getting a job in the space that you want to be in? What's your plan? Is it a strategy in place to say, you know what, this is an okay company, maybe not the position. Let me see if something comes up if I move up. Another suggestion was doing the job to be a good worker. Like you get into this job, and let's go to a different job. Let's say you were working in a hotel as what's the front desk person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the grocery stores was hiring people last year when the pandemic broke out because the grocery stores were busy. And let's say the only positions they have is cashier. Well, from front desk to cashier shouldn't be that much of a big transition. When you get there, you just do the job best as you can, stand out, and speak to management, see what opportunities that may come up that you can do after. But I think I've come across the similar things, Carla. When I was working at a radio station, I was making decent money for radio, but I knew I was saving to go to graduate school, so I was also doing security at a local hotel. And people they frowned on it. Like, why are you doing security?
Use a RoboCop.
What's that?
Use a RoboCop. That's so cute.
RoboCop.
Toy cop. That's what I meant. Not RoboCop. Toy cop. Oh, I see. And I learned something new every day. I didn't know that you did that. But
Well, I have so many jobs.
And that's the thing. That's why I say it just depends. Like for you, you're talking about school. Some people have major responsibilities. I just think that if you say you want to work, like I said to someone in Bermuda recently, go and get a job at one of these new delivery food places, right? And they were like, no way, I'm not riding my bike and doing that. And I'm just like, but it's a job. So to me, you're not that hungry because when you got mortgage or rent or whatever to pay, it hits a little different.
But is there a job like let's okay, let's take it from I agree with you actually, because that's how I am. Like I, I remember telling my wife the other day, I was like, yeah, I actually had a kitchen porter job when I was saving for school too. I worked at Lobster Pup many years ago as a kitchen porter. Like I've done a lot of jobs. Like it's not what you want to do, but it's things that, you know what, hey, I need to do this to accomplish what I need to accomplish. But I want to go back. You know what? Let's go to the comments because the show is about you. I know you all probably have a lot to say about this. Robert Durham says, take the job until you can get what you're looking for. Sean Smith says, depending on my financial situation, if I have funds, then no, I will not take the job. Yep, everyone's situation is different. Yeah. Janae Pereira Edna says, Bermudians are prideful for real. Carrie Lamb, why would that be demeaning? Just touch on that real quickly because you did mention something about demeaning when you were working a job.
Oh no, when I and let me put it in context. This was like early 2000s when I was a reporter with the Royal Gazette. I used to also work at BIU some evenings, and I was actually the special sections editor at that time, and I was told it's not a good look. That it was demeaning. That was the context, Carrie. So I don't know. Sean raises a good point there. If you got money, then maybe you don't have to. It opens up your choices a bit, you know?
Mia Hartman says, businesses say you're overqualified as an excuse not to hire you when they see your qualifications. Angie Can says, we take multiple jobs. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, the landscape is changing because jobs are at such a premium. If you have to feed your family, you will pump gas, wash dishes in order to feed your family. I'm not quite sure that it's that hard. Like, I mean, Mark, it's as easy as his saying it. You know, if there are people in certain jurisdictions that literally can't even find a job pumping gas, right? So, I mean, if you can find a job that's going to pay, now there's the other side where people say, well, look, you know, at what point do we say, no, this is beneath me? Like they're paying me $10 an hour. I can, and this has happened in the United States recently, where it's really checked the hospitality industry and restaurant industry, where they're saying people would rather stay on unemployment because they make more money than a restaurant. And there's been this big talk on LinkedIn about it, all over LinkedIn. And people are saying, well, that just exposes a bigger problem within your company. That's not an issue with the person who would rather be on unemployment. That's the issue with the wages and salaries that you're paying.
Now, here's the interesting thing. I was never into Amazon or Deliveroo or any type of those services, right? Before the pandemic. And with Deliveroo and Amazon, I mean, I see people driving up, and because anyone can have any kind of car, but I see people driving up in Mercedes and all types of high-end cars doing Deliveroo and whatever, because they have to hustle to keep the thing alive, you know? And they've said it, like, this is the one thing that hasn't gone out of business. I have things to do. So in the UK, where I see it anyway, is that the pride thing does seem to be for some on the side, and they'll just do. But I do have to say this, because I do think the more that you empower and educate yourself, and I don't mean necessarily a degree, but the more you empower and educate yourself, I think it gives you more leverage in your choices. I just feel that's important to see.
Teresa Stewart, Carla, and Bobby after her.
Temp jobs should be used to grow your network and improve your interpersonal skills. Those are transferable skills. Those transferable skills are hard to teach.
I love it, Terry.
It depends on your current financial situation. Bridge positions can build character and nurture transferable skills. These prepare you for the next role. The actual skill can be learned at any time. Pride doesn't pay the bills.
I love this from Michelle White right here. Bridging is a double-edged sword for both employer and job seeker. Bridge, if you can, by digging deep into your skill set. Have a plan. Employers, however, may be looking for a full-time person. Have that conversation to see how both needs can be met. Now, let me stop right there. Well, actually, let me finish because it's a large one. I am that it can be a win-win for both parties. Also, don't pay attention to what people think if you have to put food on your table, especially during the pandemic. Well, I want to go back to the employer. So remember, Mia Hartman said earlier about being overqualified. honestly, that's a whole nother topic, but it's an important thing because sometimes if someone with a CPA comes in, right, and you have a cashier position open at a supermarket, you probably would say, well, you're overqualified. Why do you need this? They may say, I just need to pay my bills. You as the employer are put in a position, well, we're looking for someone that's probably going to be staying with us for a long time. With you, we give you this job, you may be here for 3 weeks, right? And after that 3 weeks, you found something that's going to pay you what you want, give you everything you need, and now we're going to go back to the market and look for a cashier. So I'm pretty much, there are circumstances, folks, where and thank you for that, Michelle White. Yesterday is winner of the giveaway. Don't forget, doing another one at the end of this show, according to Carla.
Can I add to that real quick?
Mhm.
Out here in the UK, when I gave out my resume, CV,
Mhm.
I kept getting the same responses over and over. Either you're too qualified or you don't have enough UK based experience. Then I was like, you know what? I just need to work. So I went to grocery stores or whatever for cashier jobs, talking about what you're talking about. And I had to change and dummy down my CV. And I don't say that in any disrespectful way. I had to take my qualifications away in order to get a job. Because as soon as they saw a certain degree and certain qualifications, I became nullified because he said, you just use us
Carla,
just.
that's actually normal though. It's not dummying. What you do, what they teach
I
you
never
now,
knew that.
what they teach you with resume is now, and resume writing is almost a career in itself. But what they teach you, and I mean, this is going back 10 years to when I was in graduate school, they actually teach you to create your resume for the exact position that you're applying for. So it's not so much dummy and dumb, but if you want this job, then you have to match that your skills on that resume and your experience to whatever the job is. But we have a lot of comments to get to. Take the next 5, Carla Elizabeth.
And Sargasso drivers make good money. It's a good side hustle for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some skills are easily transferable through different industries like lawyers, accountants, marketers, etc. Others are not. Jody, I agree. We cannot be prideful, and more importantly, we should not be judgmental. I've had many positions, and all have added to my overall experiences and allowed me to continue my financial responsibilities.
Dwayne Richards says, money is money and a job is a job. I would rather have money in the pocket than not. Also, as long as you enjoy what you do, work is not hard. Dejan Simmons says, also, please take note of how has to work 2 to 3 jobs to break even. It's not even just an education availability dynamic in Bermuda. This is key right here, and something we've spoken about previously on this show about how we used to celebrate people working 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to survive in it. That's no way to live. So we have a news break, folks. Thanks for the contribution this morning in this conversation. We have a news break coming up. We also have the movement moment. Then we'll take a commercial break and we'll be back with our guest for the day, Mr. Shelby Weldon. So do not go anywhere. Carla, we're going to turn it over to you.
While the vast majority of residents continue to be compliant with current COVID-19 restrictions, the Bermuda Police Service and the Bermuda Reserve Police and Bermuda Coast Guard are still encouraging individuals violating the regulations regarding not mixing households and curfews. As a reminder, an overnight curfew is currently in effect from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. every day, while the recreational boating curfew is currently 7 p.m. daily. Mixing of households is still prohibited at this time. Assistant Commissioner of Police Martin Weeks, he emphasized, "Thank you all for those complying with the current restrictions. Our primary goal is to help keep residents safe during this pandemic. However, anyone found violating the rules should expect to appear in court. Therefore, I urge everyone to do their part and abide by the regulations. Please ensure you take note of all government guidance available to ensure that you do not fall outside of these regulations and give yourselves plenty of time to get home before curfew." Today is Pay It Forward Day, and this morning I'm going to share a personalized message from one of our past guests and executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters Bermuda, Patrina O'Connor. I am encouraging everyone to participate and do something kind for someone else. Can we, for one day, only spread love and kindness on social media? This pandemic has caused uncertainty and with that, a lot of stress. We need positive vibes. So please, for Pay It Forward Day, let's try our best to be kind and spread positive vibes. Do something kind for someone else, even though you may not be able to go and see everyone. Pick up the phone and call them. Check on family, friends, and the most vulnerable. Give someone an encouraging word. Whatever you can do to help someone else during this time, do it. Remember, it doesn't take money to be kind. Let's flood social media with positivity today. Turning to weather, the temperature in Bermuda is expected to reach a high of 71. Boston, Massachusetts will see a high of 55, and Leeds, UK, a high of 50. On another note, join medical hair restoration specialist and founder of Dr. Brown's Laboratory Hair Care line, Dr. Kaiwan Brown, on Sunday, May 2nd from 4 to 6 p.m. as he hosts a virtual free masterclass on hair and scalp disorders designed with salon owners, cosmetologists, hairstylists, barbers, braiders, and anyone in the hair care profession in mind. Attendees will be able to join other hair professionals, ask questions, and after successful completion, receive free product samples and a certificate of completion for this course. Sign up today for this virtual masterclass by visiting www.drbrowns.laboratory.com and select the masterclass tab, or email info@drbrowns.laboratory.com for further details. That's your Daily Hour News Break.
All right. Thanks, Carla. Here is your movement moment for today.
This movement moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's movement moment with Tamara Donnell, brought to you by People's. Tamara, what are we discussing today?
Thanks, Jamal. Today up for discussion is your community pharmacist. What can they do for you for free? While at People's Pharmacy, we are open 83 hours a week. So one of the main things your pharmacist can do for you is be available to you outside of your doctor's normal operating hours. Your pharmacist will always let you know when a condition or disease that you're experiencing needs a doctor's advice or you should go to emergency. However, for some very simple and run-of-the-mill ailments, your pharmacist can be your line of first defense. So for example, your pharmacist can help you with pain management. Your pharmacist can help you with advice on vitamins and supplements. If you have a fever or a temperature, just run-of-the-mill fever or temperature. Obviously, in time of COVID, you need your doctor's advice if your fever or temperature is related to travel or if you've had a known exposure. But for just your average fever or temperature, your pharmacist, can definitely give you advice on what to do to manage that. Pharmacists are also helpful when it comes to eye infections. For the females, for yeast infections, for managing your PMS symptoms and period pain, and for helping you decide what's the best course of action for your children if and when they are sick. Another important function of your pharmacist is ensuring that the medicines you're prescribed are dispensed to you according to your needs, and that any potential interactions are checked based on your medical history. It is also very important to disclose any medicines you're on when you're getting advice on vitamins and supplements from your pharmacist. Certain diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, certain herbs and vitamins can have an impact on those disease states. So it's very important that you build a rapport with your community pharmacist. You're honest with your community pharmacist. If you got something filled somewhere else, it's very important that they have your full history so that they can advise you accordingly.
Why do you think, based on what you said so far, the pharmacist seems to play an important role? Why do you think that people have a tendency to go to their doctors rather than the pharmacist?
I'm not sure if it comes down to just sort of that public perception that the doctor is the one when it comes to your health outcomes. First of all, not enough importance is placed on yourself as being a key component in your health outcomes. And then the pharmacist is just another member of that team. Also, the fact that a lot of what I've just mentioned is for free. And we have a society where we think, when you pay for something, it has more value. So I guess I just felt it was really important that once again, we reiterated the value of your pharmacists, the value of building a rapport with them, and of sticking to pharmacists that you know, like, and trust. Thank you for tuning into this movement moment. To enjoy the benefits of the full episode, check us at Instagram at MVMT with Tamara Donnell or at People's BDA.
Appreciate that. Big takeaway from that is a pharmacist is pretty much as important as your doctor. Always have more than one person advising you on your healthcare. Going to take a quick break. We'll be back with today's guest, Mr. Shelby Weldon, in the house.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stocking.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
There was a time when sea vegetables were considered exotic by most, and then along came sushi consisting in raw fish with rice and sea vegetables, notably seaweed and porpora. The folks at Gimme Health Foods know that sea vegetables are fat-free, low in calories, and one of the richest mineral sources in the vegetable kingdom, as they flourish surrounded by the mineral-rich ocean. And that roasted seaweed is a real good eats. Could this be the ideal snack? We're featuring Gimme Health organic sea salt and avocado and sesame seaweed snacks. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. Carla Zul, I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can also watch this show. Let's bring our guest in a bit behind, Mr. Shelby Weldon. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Jamal. Good morning, Carla. How are you doing today?
Good morning.
Pretty good. Wow, we've had quite a week, very informative week, and really, myself, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not going to call Carla out. I've been learning some things. I learned what an underwriter does yesterday. And so I'm sure today you're going to educate us a bit more, and we're going to come out. After this week, I'm sure all of us will have the skills to at least, know how to write a resume for a job in the industry. How's that?
That's excellent. I'm glad you've learned something this week. So hopefully I can continue on that learning process this morning. I'm not making any promises, but let's have a go at it.
Trying to put you under some unfair pressure, but just tell us your story about your journey. How did you land in the sector?
Actually, I am a graduate of Howard University, fondly referred to as the Mecca by our alumni. I attended in the early 80s. Actually went to university to study insurance. Didn't find that interesting enough and switched to accounting. And funny enough, I've come back as an accountant CPA and have worked in the insurance industry ever since. But it was really 5 years spent as an auditor, particularly focusing on captive insurance companies, but also done some local company audits as well. Left the audit profession, went into captive management for 5 years. I worked for a company called Johnson & Higgins, which no longer exists in Bermuda. It actually got purchased by one of the other major captive management firms. Leaving captive management, I actually went work for the regulatory authority. The first 5 years at the Registrar of Companies Department within the Ministry of Finance, and in early 2000s, that was merged into the Bermuda Monetary Authority, which I served 15 years there in various capacities. Upon departure, I was the Director of Licensing and Authorization. So that, sort of required or held responsibilities of reviewing any application for any company looking to conduct financial services in Bermuda. I had a team that assisted in reviewing that application and make a recommendation as to whether or not to license. Left the Monetary Authority in 2016 and went work for Marsh Management Services, another captive manager. But by that time, the market had sort of evolved such that Marsh not only provided services to captive companies, but also commercial carriers as well. And in 2020, I decided to take all that experience and open up my own company and started HLB Bermuda Advisory and Accounting with 2 other senior Bermuda professionals. And that's what I've been doing since which, and I have been blessed to be appointed as the executive director of BILTIR, which is the association representing Bermuda International Long-Term Insurers and Reinsurers. So that's a bit about my journey.
Okay, so we've got to learn some more because you know, I'm going to put it on the audience. They don't know a few things, right? I'm going to say they don't know. Just explain, because I heard during your journey you mentioned captives, right? And if I go into just a regular conversation with someone, they're going to ask, well, what does captive mean? What's captive? There are people in Bermuda, a lot of conversations that I've entered, and they don't understand reinsurance versus insurance. Can you just explain what these industries actually are? What is captive? What is reinsurance?
Well, captive is actually a self-insurance vehicle. So to the extent that a corporate is looking to insure certain risk, it can set up its own company, and that company then provides that insurance as opposed to going to a commercial market player. So essentially, it's a corporate-owned insurance company. Bermuda actually has a premier global position in that regard. That concept was actually incubated in Bermuda back in the 1960s. And the Bermuda government were very welcoming of that concept, and then enacted laws and regulations that made Bermuda an attractive place. And since then, Bermuda has been the #1 captive domicile on the planet and continues to be so. But in the early 1980s, I think, you know, you started to have commercial insurers come to Bermuda to set up, you know, effectively taking advantage of what was a pragmatic and prudent approach to supervision of insurance companies, which was very attractive to the commercial market as well. And Bermuda, even though it's a small country, was uniquely positioned from the respect of having intellectual capital, individuals who understood the business, and it made for a very good marriage. So from the insurance and reinsurance standpoint, it's sort of an easy concept to get one's head around. Insurance is directly engaging with the customer, so the man on the street. Reinsurance is providing insurance to other insurance companies. So it's a way in which to leverage the risk.
Got it. Speaking of the sector as a whole, what makes, and money aside, because some people will easily say, well, Jamal, that's a silly question, the money, but outside of the money, what makes IB such an attractive sector to work in? Why should Bermudians be looking at this sector for career opportunities?
I mean, you've identified one of the key ones, obviously, is financial stability. But I think, you know, from my personal experience, IB has afforded me to develop relationships not only locally, but internationally. So I have professional and personal friends around the globe. The BMA in particular gave me the opportunity to travel. As I represented the BMA in Bermuda, you know, I would travel around the globe selling Bermuda in that regard, but also giving, you know, sort of educational seminars around Bermuda's supervisory and regulatory regime. And that experience was mind-blowing. So I had the opportunity to travel to places that I had never traveled before. I had the opportunity to meet people that in, you know, sort of a more focused career, I may not have had that opportunity. So for me personally, it has been a real growing and evolutionary experience. But, you know, it is one of the industries, hospitality being the other one, that are the 2 pillars of our economy. So from that standpoint, working in IB is actually, you know, helping to stabilize how we approach our economic survivability. So from that perspective, I think IB provides great opportunities. It provides a number of varying job opportunities. People typically think, as you had indicated, Jamal, well, it's an underwriter. But IB has underwriter, it has sort of IT professionals, it has accountants, it has PR individuals, it has you know, HR staff. So there's a very wide range of disciplines that one can enjoy within this sector.
Indeed. Folks, don't forget, these kind of conversations are probably some of the most helpful we've had on this show. So please make sure you're sharing and retweeting these conversations. We need as many Bermudians to kind of understand how our economy works, how the biggest sector, one of the most important sectors in our economy, how it works. So it'd be helpful if we can make sure as many people get these. And also, if you have comments and questions, feel free to share. After throughout the conversation, we'll fit you in as much as possible. So feel free to share your questions. I want to go back to, you also mentioned the Bermuda International Long-Term Insurers and Reinsurers Association. What is that exactly, and what's its purpose?
It's an association that sort of represents the interests of life insurers and reinsurers in Bermuda. It advocates on behalf of the membership with government, with the BMA, around pending and existing legislation, around the BMA supervisory and regulatory framework, and ensuring that Bermuda remains, compliant from an international perspective as it relates to how financial services are regulated. And Bermuda actually is seen as a gold standard in that respect. But it also allows the membership as a group to support other initiatives in Bermuda, particularly, sort of educational and charitable initiatives. There is a real desire to demonstrate that the membership are good corporate citizens. They have chosen to set up in Bermuda and want to have a positive impact in Bermuda. But there's a number of other issues connected to IB, particularly some recent initiatives around modifying and amending how taxes are collected globally, of which the membership with its expertise can assist government in ensuring that we are not destroying our competitive advantage, but ensuring that we are seen as a cooperative member of the global community when it comes to financial services. So BILTIR was actually started in 2011 from a group of 5 founding members. We now have over 60 members today. They have $500 billion of assets under management, which, interestingly enough, it's more than the captive and PNC sectors combined, and represents a significant portion of that sort of assets that are being managed in Bermuda through our insurance sector. BILTIR and its membership contribute over $500 million of direct and indirect expenditure to the Bermuda economy, which is sort of approaching close to 10% of our GDP, and employs over 600 individuals, 60% of which are Bermudian. So there is a real desire from the associate and the membership to both ensure that long-term or life business in Bermuda continues to thrive, but also recognizing that we have a role to play with respect to educating Bermudians and providing opportunities for employment.
Love it.
Now, there are so many people who may be looking to get, into the IB sector. Tell us more about Bermuda's life and annuity industry.
I mean, from a very basic standpoint, most people would think of long-term, it's actually life insurance products, of which many of us benefit from. And with what we've experienced over the last year or so, is coming even increasingly important, which is providing protection for one's loved ones, and ensuring that the day that we are no longer present on this earth, then our loved ones are appropriately protected. But it's also a wealth management tool. Annuities are an investment sort of opportunity connected to the life insurance industry, which helps to preserve wealth and sort of increase one's wealth. And it's a safe investment from that perspective. So, that life and annuity sector is increasingly becoming more important, not only in Bermuda, but globally, as people look to preserve their wealth, but also provide certainty to their loved ones in the future when they are no longer earning income or no longer able to assist in that regard.
What kind of academic background and professional experiences can best prepare people who want to get into that area of IB?
As I had indicated previously, there are a number of career opportunities. So if one was, as an example, looking to apply one's trade in the accounting sector, then, university education, passing the CPA, CA exam would be, a good strategy and pathway to review. Not all accountants in the space are qualified, but my recommendation would be that would be the best strategy to secure a job within this particular sector. There are underwriters, as Jamal had indicated, he learns what an underwriter is.
I want to test him.
Yeah, there's the individuals who are technically underwriting their business. They will, determine whether or not the pricing is appropriate for the particular risk of that policy. There are brokers within the insurance sector who then act as go-betweens between the customer and the insurer. They would represent the customer and ensure that the customer is getting the most financially efficient policy that is available at that time. As I said, technology is increasingly becoming more important in all financial services sectors. So individuals with IT backgrounds, understanding systems are critically important to the day-to-day operations. That has become even more prevalent as we have gone through COVID-19, and various individuals are actually working remotely. So, it's various professionals, and my advice would always be to seek university education if one is able to. But, I have known a lot of individuals I met in this space who have not had university education, but have started at ground level, and through good work ethic, through in-house training, have progressed up that ladder as well. So there's many paths. I would say it's situational which path one wants to take, depending on financial means and availability of higher education. But there's even a significant amount of opportunities for those individuals. Even the Bermuda College has an opportunity or programs which allow one to stay in Bermuda, get trained at Bermuda College over a 2-year associate's degree. They have connections with overseas universities that can assist in a 4-year degree. So there's many pathways for success. I would say, find a mentor, find someone who can help you in your career planning and your career path. I think that's critically important. We have had in Bermuda many individuals like myself who have had long and successful careers. Utilize the resources here. We can be of great assistance.
Okay, because that was actually going to be my next question. What advice would you give? But another question, like, just as a person, what are some of the attributes? Because you've named so many different opportunities that can exist, right? You said you don't necessarily need a degree, but it is desirable. But what about personal attributes? What type of person is a right fit, so to speak, for the industry that you're in?
I mean, I think that will go company by company. Each company has its own culture and will attract different type of people. But generally, I think individuals should be able to think critically. I think that's important, irrespective of whether or not you're in international business or any profession. Being able to think critically is very important, particularly in IB, which can be, in some respects, very technical in some of those areas of which one would work in that space. I think the ability to network and engage with people is critically important. From my perspective, that was a real help to me getting out around people within the industry, not just professionally, but socially. It allowed me to develop relationships that have benefited me over the many years. I think public speaking, the ability to present, in these companies. A lot of times you may be in front of various committees, in front of customers. Being able to, present well is also very, very important. And then writing skills. Make sure that one can communicate in the written word effectively and efficiently. So, this all is dependent on, like I said, the individual company one goes to with respect to that individual company's sort of culture, but also, there's areas of which individuals are comfortable with from their own sort of personality and individual characteristics. Not everybody is actually built to do public speaking. That's not a skill that comes easy. But I would say, to the extent that you actually do have those opportunities, then take them, stretch yourself, take opportunities which may be outside of your comfort level, but then provide an opportunity to learn how to do that in a more effective way. So, you would speak to individuals like myself and other individuals. I would suspect we all have our individual journey as to how we got to where we are. But what I would say as well is to find something that you're passionate about. Find something that you enjoy doing, because that makes all the other things much easier. It's not any fun going to a place where you're not having passion or enjoyment in your day-to-day work. I spend more time working than I do with my family. So it should be something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Let's go to the audience. Bobby Singh has a question. Does a company that is domiciled in Bermuda need to commit to hiring and training X amount of Bermudians? This relates to all sectors in IB.
I mean, there is not any particular provision within the legislation that makes that a requirement, but my experience, they are committed to that. Now, we have a process within the government which will review work permit applications, and to the extent that there are qualified Bermudians who can do that job, then it's the government's role to ensure that those Bermudians get opportunities. But like I said, the companies that I have personally engaged with are committed to hiring Bermudians. And that commitment is both from a supporting of the community perspective, but also self-serving. You will tend to have Bermudians who look long-term for careers and may stay at the particular company for a significant length of time. When I was at Marsh, there was a number of Bermudians who had been there 30, 35 years. So they had shown a commitment to the company for long term. So, that is a hotly debated issue as to whether or not there should be forced employment of Bermudians. I'm not going to step into the political sort of minefield on your show today.
No.
Yes,
we'll have those guests that can address that stuff.
Exactly. But, I don't think, and I could be corrected if I'm wrong, where there's legislation that actually enforces the hiring of Bermudians. And quite obviously, this debate has been, we've been having this debate for a number of years, to what extent, should Bermudians get opportunities. And I think there's some responsibility we must carry in that regard to ensure that we are educated, appropriately positioned to take advantage of those opportunities. So, I would tell young students, speak to your guidance counselors, speak to your mentors, understand those areas of IB which would probably be most likely to hire Bermudians and focus on that. So, certain areas, there are very few Bermudians who can occupy certain positions. Right. But in other areas, particularly accounting, underwriting, broking, there's no reason with proper education, proper management, proper training, that Bermudians cannot avail themselves of those opportunities.
All right, almost out of time, but another question. Michelle White said, you mentioned that 60% are Bermudian, and on the Daily Hour, we've spoken about companies providing opportunities for Bermudians in senior roles. how does your membership, I think this is going back to BILTIR, address this concern? We talked about government just now, but does BILTIR play a role in encouraging membership as far as hiring Bermudians?
Oh, most definitely. BILTIR has, over the years, developed a very good sort of partnership with both the Ministry of Education and Workforce Development. And we go out to schools, sponsor math tutorials, career events, and actually have a sort of summer intern program. And that is a long-term effort to ensure that we are supporting the development, the education of young Bermudians, so that they are in a position then to assume some of these roles. And as I indicated before, in some respects, this is a self-serving. We recognize that the employment of Bermudians is in our long-term interest. So there is always an opportunity to come and talk to a Bermudian member of BILTIR and see what job opportunities are available within the individual companies. There's individuals who are more than willing to provide advice, act as a mentor. I'm willing to do that to the extent that any young person wants to hear what little advice they may have to give. But there is definitely a desire to make sure that we are contributing positively to the Bermuda economy, not just from an expenditure standpoint, but from a job and educational standpoint as well.
All righty, Shelby Weldon, thank you so much for this rather informative conversation. I think if we were asked, given a test tomorrow, Carla and I would know what captive is, we would know what reinsurance is, and we would know what an underwriter is. So we're learning. Hopefully the audience is learning and finds these conversations helpful. BILTIR was one of the big takeaways, because I was wondering what exactly, someone mentioned it in the comments earlier this week, and I knew we'd talk about it today. So thank you for that information as well. If someone wanted to get in touch with you to maybe learn more, or even reach out for mentorship, how can they reach you? Are you on LinkedIn? Should they give you a call at your company?
You can reach me, and hopefully you can provide this subsequent to the program at shelby.weldon@biltir.bm.
All righty. Mr. Weldon, thank you so much. Like I said, it's been a great week, wealth of knowledge, and we hope to have you all on this show regularly so that we can discuss more specifics about things that can help Bermudians and help Bermuda overall. So thanks again for joining us, and all the best.
It was a pleasure, and anytime you need me, I'm here and ready for you.
We'll be calling. Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right. See you later, Carla.
Take care.
I'm loving it. I'm learning. Thanks again. If you enjoyed that conversation, if you found that informative as I found it, please make sure you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a like, a love, and hold those laughs, because we have the daily play coming up with you know who, and she's guessing you know what. So
she gonna do you know what.
And we're gonna do a giveaway. Don't forget, we're doing a giveaway as well. So stick with us. Stick with us.
At Bermuda Communications Group Limited, we love to help businesses and organizations of all sizes across various industries. Find out how we've been working with our clients to improve their customer experience and increase their revenue. Send us an email to contact@bermudacommunications.com to see how we can assist you next.
All right. Thanks again to Linda's, One Communications, Medical House, Peoples, everybody that continues to support Channel 82. It's daily playtime. If this is your first time watching the show or tuning in or listening, this is it's Wednesday, so it's a song that Carla's guessing the lyrics to. Very easy, folks. Help her out. She probably needs your help with this. I'm not being rude. I'm just being honest.
He is.
Quote, I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize, end quote.
I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. I don't know. It is not even resonating. I've been a victim.
I'm going to give you a tune. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love.
Oh, Michael Jackson. Man in the Mirror, is it?
Check, see?
I'm stopping with the girl in the mirror.
Yeah, sorry you can't hear her volume.
Asking you to change his ways.
Still going. I cared about your windows just now. But yes, it is Man in the Mirror. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson. She got it, folks. Go through some comments. We did have a lot of comments come through. Tamara Richardson, excellent life advice, no matter the industry, excellent and clear communication network and beyond your comfort zone and great work ethic in an area you're passionate about. We've had a lot of compliments from Mr. Weldon. Melissa Burgess, I reported to Shelby for many years at the BMA, and I learned a great deal under his leadership. Congrats in your new role. And we have a Valerie Lister Bassett. TDH, it is a week learning more and more about IB. Great pick of presenters. Bobby Singh says, another insightful interview. Thank you, Shelby. The Daily Hour is 3 for 3. I'm loving these conversations. Well, thank you all. Really appreciate you. Deborah Leah, Joe Bell, Shelby, regarding your new role. Congrats. Been doing it big in IB for many years. A great role model. So lots of plaudits. Thank you all for continuing to listen and get behind the conversations. Carla, what are your thoughts on today's episode while I get ready for today's giveaway? Don't forget, while we're doing this, while Carla's giving her thoughts, you know what to do. Just put hashtag the Daily Hour. We'll do it first so that you kind of get an idea. If you think your name hasn't been showing up, just copy and paste what we're putting. Hashtag the Daily Hour to win yourself a mug today. Yesterday's winner was Michelle White. Could it be you today? Go ahead, Carla.
I absolutely enjoyed it. And I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but he had a shop and it's been racking my brain. I used to be a big patron of his shop. So if anyone remembers, tell me the name. But I loved not just how he explained things, but I love the fact that he is yet another Bermudian doing well and committed to helping to bring many young Bermudians into the industry.
Indeed. And I'm honest with these conversations. I love to see Black men in these companies, and my hope is that they're making the changes that we want to see. It's, you know, I used to say this all the time, regardless of your politics, but seeing Barack Obama in the position of president in the United States was extremely helpful for many young people, because when you see people in those kind of positions, you believe that you can do it as well. So let's go to the draw. We're going to do the draw. So folks, I can't help it if you don't see your name. I can't help it. I don't operate it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to ensure that everyone has a chance, literally just by pushing draw. All right. So hashtag the Daily Hour. Let's go.
I tried to enter. I think I did.
You're in the back right now. Hold on. All right. So let's do it.
I think I did it.
The Daily Hour. Let's go. Are you all ready? We only have 18 entries. There's 100-something people watching the show right now. Like 18 entries. I'm going to give you another chance. Quickly. Go ahead. You have another chance, folks. Hashtag the Daily Hour.
It don't like me. It's rejected me.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to comment on that.
I won't sing on a Wednesday again.
I'm not going to comment on that. All right, here we go. We have 22 entries, and we're going to hit 23. We're going to hit the draw for today's mug winner, 24. Yesterday, we had like 40, so maybe it's not catching everyone. 29, here we go. The Daily Hour in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, darling. Oh, darling.
I'm singing to the winner.
Nana Pam. Pamela Wade is the winner of today. Well, look at that. Look at that, Carla. Look at that.
Congratulations.
So, you are the winner. You're getting the mug today. Carla, we need some inspiration for those who did not win today.
Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Robert Collier.
All right, Carla, thank you for that. Don't forget, we're continuing the conversation tomorrow with Javon Swan, and then ending it on Friday with Kamika Jackson. Thanks again to Shelby Weldon. Really, really a wealth of knowledge, all of these conversations this week. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications and Linda's, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Carla Zul. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a great day.